It's the moment you've all been waiting for. The US Open draw is finally here. We've got the men's draw. We've got Jannik Sinner going for back-to-back US Open titles. And on the women's side, could it be Iga? She's back to form. We're going to be going through both of the draws, so stay tuned.
That's right, Ben. It's come round again. It's US Open time. And as we're speaking, the qualifiers is happening. So we're not sure where they're going to be exactly in the draw. But the draw is announced. And Jannik Sinner will be very pleased because he avoids a Carlos Alcaraz or a Novak Djokovic until a potential final. He's also suffering with an illness right now, which we saw what happened at Cincinnati. He was unable to play against Carlos Alcaraz. And the rumours are that he's feeling better already. So when you look at them two bits of news for Jannik Sinner today, I would say it's been a very good day for the Italian. I'm drinking a Birra Moretti for Jannik Sinner. He is the big favourite. On the women's, I feel like it's very open. And the US Open has brought forward so many surprises over the years. Maybe it's a Raducanu moment or something like that again. I am not sure who I'm going to be picking at all for the women's. For the men's, I hate to be the guy, but it's between two players. It always is right now. Alcaraz or Sinner, who's going to win the Grand Slam? For me, that's where it's going to be. I'm not looking at Novak Djokovic at all. But let's go through all of the draw. This is our initial reaction as it happens. We'll start with the men's. And just to give you all a recap, Jannik Sinner is currently world number one. But if Alcaraz goes further at this US Open than him, he will overtake Jannik Sinner and become world number one. So whoever does better at the US Open will determine who's world number one. You've then got Alcaraz in number two, like I've said, Zverev number three, and Taylor Fritz number four, with Draper and Shelton number five and number six.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. I've seen a little bit of the men's one as it was coming out. I've seen a few little bits here and there, not too much. I haven't seen any of the women's one yet, though. So this is exciting. Obviously, we've just finished work and we're straight into this. So it doesn't get any more exciting. This is the Grand Slam. If you're in the UK, the timings work so well for us. You finish work and then the tennis starts and it goes all the way through the night into the morning. And if you manage to get to sleep, you wake up and there's the final match of the day on normally, and you get to watch that in the morning as well. So yeah, one of the best slams for us in the UK to be able to watch as much tennis as possible. But let's get stuck into it. Let's have a look at Jannik Sinner's quarter. This is the one we're going to start with. And we'll do like we normally do when we go through these draws. And we'll take a look at the seeds that are in his section first. And then we'll look at some of the like dangerous floating players who are the unseeded ones in there. So here we go. Jannik Sinner facing Vic Capriva in the first round. Nice, comfortable start to the tournament for him.
Yeah, it's important to note, Ben, I don't know if you want to do this, but to look at the odds first, because I was just having a look. Sinner's the best place to start with. I'll share it on the screen now because I've got them up.
Okay.
If you just add that, you're better than me to do that. I've just shared it. So we've got Jannik Sinner as the favourite. He's 2.1. Carlos Alcaraz, 2.75. And Djokovic, third favourite, 13. So I think that just highlights the dominance between them top two. Yeah. The bookies are thinking it's between Sinner and Alcaraz. That's the way I see it. Djokovic, third favourite at 13. You've then got Draper, 23, Zverev, 23, Shelton, 26, which I think is extremely good value. Ben Shelton, in America, I believe he is probably my third favourite behind Sinner and Alcaraz. So I think that is some good value to be made. Do I think he can beat a Sinner and Alcaraz over a best of five? I've not seen it so far. And my money would be on these top two. And that just shows the dominance. For the women's, I'm expecting it to be a little bit more open. But let's wait and see in a second when we get on to that.
Yeah, let's see some of the other crazy odds that we could see coming down the page. Medvedev Look at that. A former champion, 67s. That's how much they fancy him for the title, which is insane. That just goes to show the fall from grace that Medvedev's had over the past few months, lacking confidence, lacking form. And maybe someone like a Khachanov you'd think should have more a chance of winning, considering his better form than Daniel Medvedev. Done well at the US Open before as well. Remember that big match against Kyrgios where he knocked him out of the tournament when Kyrgios was having that great year. Khachanov could have a good tournament. Kyrgios won't be having a good tournament. He has withdrawn from the tournament, as he has done, I think, 11 of the last 12 slams. So no surprises there, though, really. Even if he was playing, wasn't really ever in the crosshairs for someone who's going to really challenge for the title, though. Right, back to Jannik Sinner's section. These are the seeds that are in his section. Fellow Italian Lorenzo Musetti. We've got fellow Italian Flavio Cobolli. We've got Denis Shapovalov. We got Diallo in there. Bublik. Who else have we got? Jack Draper. Wow, in his quarter. So obviously met in the semi-finals last year. Could be even sooner this time. And Tommy Paul, the American there. What do you make of those as seeds in the section? Tough or all okay?
I think it is quite tough against some of the public opinion online. The reason I think it's tough is because Tommy Paul in America, Jack Draper in his stage of his career where I feel like he's really got a point to prove, are players you do not want to play. More so Draper, of course. He's the 5th seed, so the best of the rest, the best out of all the other seeds who's got their own quarter. And that is a horrible match to have to play him potentially in a quarter final. I think he's a little bit unlucky there. I think it will be a tough battle if Draper really steps up to the plate. I'm expecting Jannik Sinner, though, to be the Jannik Sinner we've seen this last year or so. I don't think we can look too much into Cincinnati. I feel like that was just a virus. It can happen to you. And it's something which I don't think he's going to hold on to. It's not like a muscle injury or something more long term. It just seemed like a very unfortunate timing to have that final. And I expect him to be back at his best. So with that in mind, does it really matter who's in his draw? Does it really matter who's in Carlos Alcaraz's quarter? Because I believe these two players, when they're playing their game and physically they're okay, they will beat everyone, and then we're going to get each other playing in the final. So It is a tough section. One thing I would highlight in this section, which jumps out of the page to me, is Lorenzo Musetti against Mpetshi Pericard as an opening round match is very unfortunate for Musetti, someone who could do with a little bit of confidence right now, playing against Mpetshi Pericard, who we know he's going to serve massive. That is a horrible opening round match. And Mpetshi Pericard's on the rise this year, having a good season. And yeah, you just do not want to have to play him. It could easily go 4 or 5 sets. Diallo, someone who's in form, and I think he could make a bit of a dent in this draw, knocking out potentially some players along the way.
I'm looking over this side. Bublik not been dealt a good hand there. Former US Open champion Marin Cilic in the first round.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw him beat Draper at Wimbledon. Could we see him knock out Bublik and another seed early on in the US Open? It's highly possible. A fresh Cilic is a very dangerous prospect.
Yeah, keep going down. But overall, I would say this is relatively tough. Moella, I do like him, but I think Tommy Paul should have enough. And of course, Cobolli. Let's see what he's like on the hard courts. We know he's not too bad on all the other surfaces, even quite good on the grass. So interesting to see, and I'll keep my eyes on him. But all in all, Jannik Sinner should be okay, but it's not an easy quarter. There are some players who can cause some damage, most notably, of course, Jack Draper, the 5th seed. Let's see how he gets on.
Yeah, I'd say if Jannik Sinner gets going, though, I'm sort of another mind. I think that you can see some tough players in there, but he probably won't face them until a fourth round or a quarter final. If he does face them in the quarterfinal, he probably will have come through all of these matches pretty convincingly, and then you'd expect Sinner to probably clean up even Jack Draper. We've seen him do it once before. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again. I don't think, considering how good Sinner is at the moment, that this is that tough for him. But you could say that about anyone in the whole roster.
But
So
we've said this about Nadal
yeah,
at Roland Garros when he's playing, or Djokovic at the Australian
yeah,
Open. Like, when you're that good of a player, does it really matter what the draw is for you? But if you're being honest, it's not the easiest. There's some really good players here.
yep.
Popyrin as a second round match potentially for Sinner. We've seen him go toe to toe with Novak Djokovic in recent years and beat him. So it's tough.
I still think that with someone like, when we're looking, I know obviously in a slam you've got a little bit more room for error, haven't you? So Alcaraz, he can get himself out of trouble if he gets himself in there. You sort of see Sinner probably walking through a few of the first rounds a bit easier. Obviously, we'll come to Alcaraz's draw and who he has in the first round very, very soon, because it's very interesting, that one as well. But in Sinner's side of the draw, he does have Sasha Zverev. And who would you rather have, Taylor Fritz on your side or Zverev on your side?
Zverev, I think,
Yeah,
because
I'd say so.
he's got the ability to knock out some really good players. So it's good to have him on your side. He'd then have to play him in a semi-final. And at the big stage, Zverev bottles it every single time. We've got a
Yep.
track record of about 10 years of him doing it. So I would be pretty confident playing Sasha Zverev in a semi-final of a Grand Slam if I'm Jannik Sinner. And he also then has the ability to beat all of these other names who can be quite dangerous. So not a bad player to have on your half. And I would say that Sinner's fortunate in that regard. And of course, this is the top half of the draw. We'll go to the bottom
Yep.
half in a second. You've got Jacob Fernley there, but let's just talk about the seeds like you did the first time. So Khachanov,
Yep.
Cerundolo, Felix, Humbert, Tsitsipas. Did I say Cerundolo? I think I did.
Yep.
You got Rublev and Dimonor.
Ooh.
Rublev and Dimonor on hot form. And I'll
Yeah.
include Rublev in that. I think he's actually coming back to a good level. And I think he's more dangerous than a lot of the other seeds. Dimonor, I've spoke about. Maybe I went a little bit too big on one of the previous podcasts saying he's having one of the best years. He's one of the best apart from the big two. But he's certainly in that conversation. I put him as a top 5 player of the year. And on his day can be extremely dangerous. I don't think he can beat Sinner or Alcaraz, though. He doesn't have the power. Probably can't even beat a Djokovic, really. We've seen that time and time again. But all in all, for Zverev, I think he'll be quite pleased. I'm not sure what his record's like against the Rublev, but I would favour Zverev still. And everyone else, I would favour him against. So I think he'll be extremely pleased with this quarter. And really, we could see a lot of unseeded players knock out seeds early doors. And I don't think Tsitsipas is going to have a particularly good tournament. I feel he's struggling right now. I can never say the name. Basavaredi at the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you say it?
Basavaredi?
Basavaredi, I reckon, can go far against Khachanov, maybe 5 sets, 4 sets. The qualifier could knock out Felix. There's a lot of early round upsets I can see happening. Even if they don't and they go the next round, you've got people like a Fernley or a Monfils or a Naldi, like top players who are coming through, who I think on their given day can beat a seeded player.
Not bad draw for Monfils.
Not bad draw for anyone here. I think this is an easier quarter than what Jannik Sinner has. And Dimonor will be very pleased. Rublev will be very pleased because they are the 2 top seeds who aren't the number 1 seed in Zverev from this section. And I think either of them 2 have really good claims to win this quarter.
Well, I was going to say the first thing that came to mind when seeing this entire quarter is this Andrei Rublev's best chance to get to a semi-final for the first time?
Yeah, it is. It's a really good chance for Rublev to get to a semi.
I think the form that he's come into this tournament in, obviously going to 3 with Alcaraz in Cincinnati, he looked fantastic in that match as well, striking the ball so well. Just continue that form. He could come up against Humbert, think that's a winnable match. Could come up against a Zverev. I still think he's a 7-3 record in favour of Zverev, but he has beaten him on outdoor hard, indoor hard, and on clay. So he can beat him on nearly every surface. I think it's a if Rublev's in form and Zverev's a bit wobbly, it's definitely a winnable match for Andrei Rublev. Khachanov, who knows with him? He could be the one that comes in and just steals the show in this quarter. But let's move all the way to the bottom, and let's move all the way to Carlos Alcaraz. And he is obviously the number 2 seed, but it's not Vic Capriva for him like Jannik Sinner. Oh no. It is. Bum, bum, bum. Riley Opelka, first round.
In America.
I said in the seed video, dangerous unseeded players, people you don't want to face in the first round in America. Riley Opelka is pretty much number 1. Big serving. If he serves well, you're hard to even get anything other than a tie break, isn't it?
But over 5 sets, these big servers, you can beat them. And he might win a tie break, but he will lose in 4. And I do not think that it's that bad as what you're dressing up. I understand the fear of it all. Alcaraz is fast. He's a good returner. I don't foresee any problems. To put it in perspective, Riley Opelka just did beat Alex de Minaur at Cincinnati, but then he lost to Comersana in the round, which went on afterwards.
He did.
Comersana, Alcaraz, I think Alcaraz will be totally fine.
Yeah.
So panic over there. As much as you bigged it up, I know what it can be. I just don't think it will be something like that. Let's keep going. We've got Casper Ruud as a seed. We've got Lehechka as a seed. Darderi as a seed. Pretty impressive that he has a seed now. I didn't know that.
Really good.
Davidovich Fokina, 18. We've got Greek Spore, 29. Medvedev and Ben Shelton. And listen, it's instantly just got harder because I've already said I think Ben Shelton is the best of the other 2. I put him ahead of de Minaur. I put him ahead of Jack Draper. So with that in mind, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But I am putting Jack in my power rankings in my head. I have Ben Shelton all the way up there in number 3. And with that in mind, he's going to be in the same quarter of Carlos Alcaraz. This is not a nice draw. This is a tough quarter to have if you've got Ben Shelton in there. It's a little bit tougher than Sinner's because for me, he's got Draper. Obviously, some people will differ with their opinions and say, oh, well, Draper's 5, Shelton 6. Well, I see Shelton as a higher player in America than what Draper is. So this is horrible. You've got Daniel Medvedev. We know what he can do.
Well, let's pause for 1 second on Daniel Medvedev because he's probably seen this and he's thought, oh my God, no. Benjamin Bonzi again. He's lost to Benjamin Bonzi twice, both in Grand Slam first rounds, and he's got him again. He lost to him earlier, just at Wimbledon, just literally a couple of months ago, and he can't play against French players. He's going to be thinking, what have I done to deserve this? Do you think he could go out first round again? Does he have the mental block against the French?
No, he'll beat Bonzi this time.
But
it's weird. It's a horrible draw for him. It could get in his head, definitely.
Yeah, you know what he's like. He gets in his own head on the court and smashing a racket, getting a bit irate. The crowd get involved. They want to see him go out as well. I'm sure they probably don't, but that just the drama would be enough for them to get into it. Looking at this actual section, though, as a whole, terrible for Carlos. He's got Medvedev in there. If you think he actually plays his best tennis, Shelton in there, Medvedev in there, Lehechka in there. Fokina's been in great form. He's in there as well. Casper Ruud, hasn't he been there deep at the US Open before?
Well, finals, isn't it?
Exactly. So this is not a good section. I know that we said Sinner's was tough. I think this is even tougher.
This is the toughest quarter. Alcaraz does not have a nice draw at all.
We know who's on his half as well. Should he get through this, there could be a potential Mr. Djokovic looming in the next section. It's always on his side, isn't he? Why is he not on Sinner's side?
Could Offner beat Ruud?
It's possible, but I think a bit of a big ask. But
yeah,
don't know.
I was watching him the other day and he was looking all right, but against lesser opposition. Ruud really does like these hard courts in America. He plays very well this time of year, so I'd expect him to win. But let's go to Djokovic's section. because I've not seen anything to do with that.
Disrespectful to Taylor Fritz there. It is the Taylor Fritz section, but yes, it is also
The Djokovic section. This is the Djokovic section. I don't want to be dismissive to Taylor Fritz, but we're interested in Novak Djokovic. He's the number 7 seed. He's got Lerner Tien, which is really good for me. And you've got Fonseca. I mean, Fonseca and Tien, they're always in the same quarter, whatever happens. They're not that close in the draw this time, which is good, but they're still in the same section. And Fonseca is going to be playing Kecmanovic. I would fancy Fonseca a little bit more than Lerner Tien in this situation. I think everyone else would. But early stages for Djokovic isn't that easy because Tien's a tough player. You'd think it'd get easier beyond that. And I'm looking down there, Comersana, Mickelson, Norrie, or Korda, and either qualifiers. I fancy him more so beyond that. Runa, I'm not really big on right now. I think he's outside the top 10 for a reason. And we was talking about him as the big player to challenge the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner. He's fallen away for me. I don't put him up there with your Drapers, your Dimonors, or your who's the other one I just said?
Rublev?
Shelton. Or Rublev even, I think, is a little bit above Hologaruna right now. But we know there's big performances in there. Of course, Taylor Fritz could play a Novak Djokovic in the quarterfinal stage.
Always.
We know how that one goes. It always goes the same way. Do I think it would be different? Probably not, unfortunately. Taylor Fritz has been around on the tour for some time now. He's not been able to suss him out yet. I don't think that's going to change. I think Djokovic mentally has his number. Jakub Mensik, on the other hand, right at the top, he can beat anyone on his day. So can Fabio Marazan. 2 players who are wild card players. They're very powerful, very dangerous, and you don't know what you're going to get. And Mensik, Marazan, players you do not want to play. Djokovic, though, I think with his experience, he's able to sort of handle these wild cracker players more than most.
Yeah, it is a tough first round match, but I think the experience of Novak Djokovic will surely just be too much for Lerner Tien, and obviously just the big moment. It's going to be on a big court, isn't it? And you probably get gobbled up by the occasion, unfortunately, because I thought he was going to have a good tournament, Lerner Tien. I was really hoping for a good draw. This is a terrible draw for me, but good for Djokovic, and I want Djokovic to go as far as possible in this one. I like his little section here. I think it's a nice little one to maneuver out of, and then he could face potentially a Runa, more likely a TFO though, I think, in this potential 4th round matchup. And then I'd say you're probably more than likely going to get Taylor Fritz versus Djokovic. But based on that, I don't really see many people upsetting the cart. Maybe not. You're going to keep on going on with this Marazan thing, but
he's a good player, Ben.
He is.
You need to give him more credit.
Tried to interview him when he was trying to be sick, but he didn't want to know. That was back.
Why don't you big him up more?
I like him. I feel like you've put me off him a bit, bigging him up too much. You're giving him a big mountain to climb.
He's a good player. That's why. But Mensik, I think, is superior. And I feel that Mensik could beat Taylor Fritz if things all go his way. But we're looking at it. Djokovic, Fritz, highly possible. And it's highly possible Djokovic then beats him. So I would say out of all of the quarters, probably one of the easiest quarters, not for Taylor Fritz, for Novak Djokovic. If you're looking at it from the other perspective, this is a horrible quarter for Taylor Fritz because I feel like he'd rather play anyone apart from Djokovic.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Djokovic.
He's the one player he just wants to avoid.
And there he is, right in that quarter. I mean, Alcaraz would be happy because he definitely doesn't want him in the same quarter as him because we know what happened at the Australian Open. He doesn't want to be facing Djokovic on a hard court because he knows. I think he does sort of get in his head a little bit because he knows how to play against Alcaraz a bit better than against Jannik Sinner. And Djokovic probably be happy he's not on the side of Jannik Sinner because there's no chance of meeting him in a semi-final like they did at Roland Garros. And maybe he'll be thinking, Fritz in the quarters, Carlos in the semi, Sinner in the final.
Yeah, I think he would be more so than everyone else. And Djokovic has not fared too badly from this situation. The difference is, I don't think Djokovic is as good as what he was. And I mean, that's common sense, but
Clearly, yeah.
I don't think he is someone who can go and win a Grand Slam now. I've said it many times, and I'm going to double down with it. Fantastic player. Even now, of course, the greatest player to ever play, but right now he's a fantastic player. Still one who can beat most players on tour. I just don't think that's enough to translate into winning a Grand Slam. And it's between two, and that's Sinner and Alcaraz. I expect them both to make the final.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Let's have a look at their routes through. Obviously, they are the main two. We'll have a look at Alcaraz's. It's Opelka first round, Bellucci or Shang in the second, Darderi in the third, Medvedev or Fokina in the fourth, Shelton Ruud, Griekspoor Hechka quarters, Fritz Djokovic, Rune Mensik semis, and then potentially Sinner in the final. No, not
I like how you
disrespect.
ended there.
Yeah, exactly. And then for Jannik Sinner, I think I've got one for him as well. Just bear with me. Where is it? I did have it. I'll go to Djokovic's first so you can have a look through. You take us through that while I find
No worries.
Jannik's.
Djokovic, we've got TN, and then the second round, qualifier or lucky loser, Mickelson, Rune or TF5, Fritz Mensik or Thomas Mahatch. Semi final, Alcaraz, Shelton, Ruud. Final, Sinner. I'm not going to say the others.
That's it. And then here is Sinner's. Kapraiva, first round. Poprin, second round. Shapo, third round. Bublik or Paul, fourth round. We got Musetti, Draper, Kaboli in the quarters. Kaboli could be a good shout there for the quarters. Semi-final of Zverev, Rublev, Dimonov, Hachanov, and then the final of Alcaraz, Djokovic, Shelton, or Fritz. Yeah, could have
when you put it all like that, I would say Sinner has the best draw, then Djokovic, then Alcaraz in that order.
Yep.
Sinner will be very pleased considering how well and dominant he's been on the hard court Grand Slams. Alcaraz won't be pleased at all. He's got the worst end of the deal, and Djokovic, he should be okay. He should be okay. He's got chance if he does his stuff and performs, he could go far. But I don't think he can beat them other two.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, there was one player that I was hoping to see in the draw. Obviously, Terence Attman. He withdrew from the tournament, though. So despite that, a fantastic Cincinnati performance, we're not going to get to see him play on the hard courts in the US again. Not this year, but he'll be back, I'm sure, soon. So hopefully he has a good recovery and comes back to the top of the game. Let's move over to the women's, and we're going to be starting off with the Sabalenka section. Make sure you've told us in the comments who you think has the toughest men's section as well. Let's start with Saba. She's the number one seed. It's always Sinner and Saba, isn't it, these days? Could it change?
She's the second favourite, Ben. We'll start with the bookmakers. Iga 3.75, Saba 4, Coco 10, Andreeva 12, Rybakina 13, Osaka 21, Keys 23, and Boko 23. In summary, they don't have a clue. It's very open. You've obviously got Iga and Saba at the top, but I mean, it's very open. I don't know how to say it in other words. And Boko being so high is surprising to me. Raducanu being 29 is ridiculous. She's never going to win. Krejcikova 80 to 1, never going to win. Paolini at 50s, I don't think is terrible because we know how good she can be in Grand Slams. I think that's really good value. I'd rather her than, say, an Osaka. I'd rather her than an Mboku. I'd rather her than an Andreeva. They're all people above her. And Rybakina at 13s, I don't think it's too bad either. I know she lost to Iga recently, but there's not many players who do beat an in-form Rybakina. Probably only an Iga and Saba or a Coco.
Well, that's where this draw gets interesting because Sabalenka and Iga will both be looking at that draw when it came out thinking, please don't have Rybakina, please don't have Rybakina, please don't have Rybakina. And Sabalenka has Rybakina after just being beaten convincingly by her. She's in her quarter. And let's have a look at the other seeds that also are in there. Former US Open finalist Leylah Fernandez, Washington champion, is in her section as well there. We've got Kudermetova, been playing very well recently as well. So another in-form player. Kessler, Mertens, Paolini and Towson. Oh my word. This is a nightmare quarter for Sabalenka.
Not good for Leylah Fernandez either.
No.
It's not good for my bracket, my top 10. You've got Iga Swiatek there, which doesn't help you.
And Raducanu's in there as well. Let's just throw her in there as well.
Yeah, Raducanu's completely screwed. I feel it's going to be very interesting. I think it is between Sabalenka and Rybakina. Keep going down. Just want to make sure I agree with that. I think now I understand Paolini's odds.
That's what I was going to say before. There must be a reason.
There's a reason. 50-1. Why is she 50-1? Because she'll have to beat both Rybakina and probably Sabalenka. Will she do both? No. So
Okay.
I think I'm going to change my whole opinion on Paolini. It was good value. And if one of the others, they go out, then of course it's amazing value. But I think it's a tough section to be in. This is a horrible quarter for a number one seed. If you compare it to Jannik Sinner's, really tough. And you've got Ayala there you're highlighting.
And Iga Swiatek in there as well. Look, there's like Ayala versus Towson first round. Wow. That is a cracker of a first round match. We've got another former Grand Slam champion, Vondrousova's in this section as well. Yeah, this is littered with just Polina Kudermetova, both the Kudermetova.
Yeah. We always have our qualifiers to watch.
They're both in the same quarter again.
Section, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? That's brilliant. So, yeah, I mean, I've been screwed over by TN Djokovic. Hopefully, Sabalenka's going to put paid. If she gets through the first round, she'll get smashed out.
I don't mind that, though. One round's quite a lot of points, so it'd be good if she can win one match.
Well, Jovic has got Sasnovich first round, which is brilliant.
Probably easier.
Yeah, and then potentially Paolini, which is terrible. So tough. Let us know what you think in the comment section. First looks at it, dreadful for Sabalenka. If she gets through this, who does she have in her half of the draw?
Yeah.
That's what we need to have a look at. I just want to make sure I've got them.
It'll be on the same tweet, so the one next to each other. It says top half. So I can confirm if you want me to.
Yeah, you tell me and then I'll bring it up.
I say I can confirm. It is Pegula.
The
top half is Sabalenka and Pegula. So if you go to Pegula next, you have, I'm just having a little look on my screen actually, a very, very, very nice quarter. This quarter for Pegula, my initial impressions are that it's brilliant for Jess Pegula and also brilliant for Mira Andreeva, the number 5 seed. It's got to be between them two. You've got Mboku. We know she's playing fantastically well right now. Sort of been the standout these last few weeks. Wasn't too bad at Wimbledon as well.
Yeah.
And a player for the future. She's dangerous. Pegula, of course, is dangerous. Mira Andreeva, definitely dangerous. I don't really look at any of the others. I'm not sure about Krejcikova, Ostapenko. I'm not expecting big tournaments from them or a Belinda Bencic either. And my money on this one, it's an easy quarter, I think. It's between two players, Pegula or Andreeva, and I think I would edge more Andreeva.
Yeah, just trying to have a look at some of those other players in there. We've got Ostapenko, not really in much form, but who knows, could come back to form at any second. You know, I quite like that first round match. If Mboku gets past Krejcikova, which is never that easy at a slam, but if she goes past, that'll give her a lot of confidence. Yeah, I think so. And then Emma Navarro in her section as well. I still think it's a great draw from Mboku, to be honest. Obviously, Mira Andreeva, not that easy, but if you're going to pick one of the top 5 in the world, you probably pick her because she could probably have an off day because she doesn't have the experience. I think this is interesting if you're a young player. Andreeva and Mboku on this side, licking their lips. On this side, Bencic, Samsonova, Yastremska. Yeah, Pegula should walk this side. Yep, agree with you totally. Think that if she doesn't get to the quarterfinals, this has been a disaster tournament for Jess Pegula. Needs to start strong.
I would agree with that. And the real winner, I can already tell you, it's Iga, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we're going to go to her next, and she faces one of my faves in the first round, Emiliana Arango, in the first round, which is terrible for Arango. She's probably going to get one breadstick, one bagel. There's probably going to be something like that coming her way, I think, from Iga, because she's playing so well right now.
Yeah, looking at that section, the players I want to highlight is, of course, Svitolina. I'll always
Yep.
highlight her because I think she's class. Anisimova, a great player at slams, especially at Wimbledon, looked really good, but was unable to deal with the occasion in the final. Back in America, could do some damage. I think she is a good player and could go far, but I don't think enough for an Iga. Had Admire as a seed, Kenin as a seed. These are players you want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Schneider not having a best year compared to last year. It's just good seeded players to have. Alexandrova, these are perfect players for Iga. And I'm
Yep.
looking at it, and there's nobody, I'm afraid. Not one player who I think can beat her. You'd have to probably go for Svitolina as the
I
player.
agree.
If not Anisimova, but I prefer the matchup Anisimova-Iga in favour of Iga. So it's a very nice section and a very nice half, because we know in her half it will be a Coco Gauff who's not in the best of form post what happened at Wimbledon. She's not quite made that same level of performance.
No.
So based off that, I would be really pleased to be Iga right now, because you avoid a Rybakina or a Sabalenka and some of the other names we mentioned in that Sabalenka section more notably, because there's some really good players there. And yeah, I'm looking down here and I just see that Iga will win this quarter.
I quite like the look of this on this side, even though Coco Gauff in her section with seeds, we've got Mukova, never easy, Noskova, Freck, Naomi Osaka on her side of the draw. So it could be a potential fourth round matchup with Naomi Osaka, who has been coming back to form. That is not good for Coco Gauff, because the way Osaka's been playing, she actually looks really dangerous. Like, she's hitting very clean. Keys as well in America, not a good person to have in your side. She's obviously ironed out a lot of her unforced errors. If we see the same Keys from Australia turn up, very dangerous again. Kostyuk's in there as well, someone who can throw up a bit of a banana skin to some of the top players sometimes. But I'd say some winnable matches, but definitely in the form Gauff's in, this isn't really a cakewalk, I don't think. I think this is quite difficult because of the likes of Osaka. I'd say that she should be able to get through the first 3 rounds comfortably, but then after that, I think she could be in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think she's not going to have a good tournament. I would put my money more on Madison Keys over a Coco Gauff. She did lose at Cincinnati to Rybakina in 3 sets. Rybakina had a good tournament.
Yeah,
it's no shame in losing to her. And this bottom half, I feel, is a lot easier than the top half. And Coco Gauff, based off that alone, should still be very pleased, because her section is nice. It's good to be on this side of the draw. We've seen her beat Iga in recent years on a hard court. So if Coco Gauff's all firing and proves me wrong, then she will be very pleased with this section too. So there's chances for her. I just don't, from my initial impression, what I think, let me know in the comment section. I don't think she's going to do particularly great. And I would rather someone like a Madison Keys. Osaka, I think it may be a step too far, but she is playing well. They seem to play quite a bit, Osaka and Coco Gauff, at the US Open. So I'll be pleased if we get that match. And so will the fans be.
I want to get your take on this one just before we wrap up. Obviously, we didn't mention her, and she's just there, just at the bottom. Venus Williams versus Karolina Muchova, first round. Wild card into the event. I know you always like to have something to say when people getting wild cards, like older people as well. She won a match not too long ago, first match in a few years. Well, how do you feel about seeing Venus back on the courts in Flushing
Listen,
Meadows?
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to roll me up. You're trying to get a reaction. You want me to say something, but I'm not gonna give in.
Flip
The
him.
reason being, no, because I think I've done a full cycle with it. The last sort of 5 years or so, or 4 years, I've been like, I don't want to see her playing tennis tournaments. It'd be better for her to retire. Of course, do it on your own merit. I'm not telling you to do that. You have the right to retire whenever you want. What a fantastic champion over the years. Incredible tennis player. But I don't personally want to watch Venus Williams play tennis anymore because I don't find it interesting. She can't compete at the level. And that's been my attitude for the last however many years. The other day, seeing her in Washington in the City Open, she beat Peyton Stearns. I was pretty mesmerized in the sense of, I was like, fair play. Like, to come and beat a player who's not a bad player in straight sets, I was just like, wow. And I think I just got to give her a lot of credit because how old is Venus Williams? Remind me.
45.
45.
Yeah.
She's 45 years old and she's just beaten someone, I don't know how old, but a lot younger than her.
Probably early 20s.
Yeah, incredible. So I'm not actually being that dismissive. Fair play to her. I'd love to see her win and beat Mukova again. Beat someone else, sorry, not Mukova again, but someone again.
What do you think make of
possible though?
What do you make of the fact that she's only stayed on the tennis tour because she needed the health insurance?
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But yeah,
Is it true?
Yeah, she said it in her post-match interview. That's one of the main reasons, because she suffers from like she has this like Sjogren syndrome or something. So it's obviously quite expensive, and she needs the medical insurance, and that's why she keeps staying on the tour and playing.
Does she really need the medical insurance? She's like
apparently
a multi-millionaire. She's super rich, you know.
Well, I'll bring up like the thing.
I don't think she's actually struggling for money, is she? But
this is what she said. I had
to make you feel bad now, aren't you, Ben?
I had to come back for the insurance because they informed me this year that I'm on Cobra. So it's like I got to get my benefits on. Even the people, Grand Slam champions, struggling through. But I hope she gets the win. I hope she gets a bit more cash in the bank. And that's it. That's the draw reaction done for the men's and the women's. Let us know your thoughts in that comment section. Is it an easy route for Iga? She's winning the US Open. Or is Saba going to run the gauntlet and then go through all of those killers to get through to the final and win the US Open again? Want to hear everybody's thoughts.
Yeah, the big winners here has got to be Jannik Sinner and Iga. The big losers, Carlos Alcaraz and Sabalenka. But let us know in the comment section, what do you think? If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you for the US Open very soon.
See you soon.